I don't think it would be a surprise to anyone to say that Pokemon recently has had a little bit of a quality issue. If you look at the graphics of the wild area in Pokemon Sword and Shield, the lack of a national dex, if you consider that to be a problem, I don't, but some people do. Therefore, I will mention it. The games before Sword and Shield were just remakes of Yellow, and of course, as you probably know what I think about it by now, the Diamond and Pearl remakes look absolutely woeful. But we're not here to talk about that part. So what is the issue with Pokemon's quality issue? Well, most of you have probably already thought about this for yourself. It's likely the forced yearly releases. You see, at the end of the day, Game Freak and the Pokemon Company, they're a business, and they want to make money. And one of the reasons for making Pokemon games is because they make most of their income through toy sales, merchandise sales, things like that. They'll have all the kids buying Pokemon cards, different figures, you got the hardcore fans buying up all the stuff on the Pokemon Central website. Pokemon makes more money from toys than they do from games. But if they don't make games, then they will sell slightly less toys. They wouldn't take that much of a loss, but companies are greedy, that's just how it is. So what's the problem with the forced yearly releases? Because they've sort of been doing yearly releases for a pretty decent amount of time now. Well, the difference is the jump to a more powerful piece of hardware, because in the past Pokemon was always on handheld consoles like the Game Boy or the DS, but now that the Switch is a hybrid, there's a higher graphical standard that people have for these games, and releasing games yearly does not give Game Freak the time to meet that standard. I'm not saying each game is made in a year, clearly not, that's just not how things work, but to create a fully fledged RPG experience on a home console takes much longer than the time Game Freak has, that's for sure. Also, this is just the beginning of Game Freak's endeavors in the home console landscape. They're not experienced with this powerful hardware. They've been used to doing sprite work and chibi pixel styles and things like that. Handheld graphics have always been their specialty, you know? So they need time to grow, not only in talent, but just in employee numbers, because Game Freak, they're also understaffed to hell. Like, I think there might be less than 200 developers working, or maybe a bit over 200. Either way, there's probably some indie studios which hire more people than that, is in terms of freelancers. And if you're spearheading the release of the world's highest grossing franchise, you really need more people. But, you know, they are going to keep on doing it regardless of what we say at the moment, because people keep on buying it no matter what they do. Look at the Pokemon Sword and Shield sales. I bought that game because I like that game. But there are problems, obviously, and the fans were very annoyed, and it is still one of the best-selling games on the Switch. And that's a problem, because then Game Freak might think, well, we can just keep on doing what we're doing. So what would the solution be? Well, the obvious one is just release less frequently so you have more time. But Game Freak don't want to do that, because then they'll make less money. So that's out of the picture there. It's not that it's an unreasonable thing to do, it's just Game Freak wouldn't do it. The next one would also be the obvious solution of hiring more staff, which they could do, hopefully, in the future. But if their games keep on selling well, then what incentive do they have to pay more people? So we need to come up with a solution that would suit Game Freak the best. And I think I have a good solution. More spin-off games. If Game Freak were to outsource a spin-off to an entire studio, that gives a studio's worth of work to a spin-off, and the scope of the spin-off could be big enough to justify it taking up the Pokemon release slot of that year instead of a mainline release. Let's say, for example, you give a Pokemon Ranger game to Bandai Namco. They probably have the resources to make it big enough to satisfy Pokemon fans within that year. And besides, another way to effectively use spin-offs would be adding in new Pokemon and characters in these spin-offs. Because if you add in like 15 new Pokemon, that's 15 Pokemon you can have different toy lines with. And if you add in new characters, you can also create toy lines with that. So that's a way of keeping up the toy revenue whilst they spend longer on their mainline games. Not to mention, characters in Pokemon could make multiple anime episodes and keep on promoting those games. And Game Freak are sort of starting to outsource. For example, new Pokemon Snap is being made by Bandai Namco, and that is a good step. Continue outsourcing to developers like these, but new Pokemon Snap won't satiate the desires of fans and won't give you the revenue you need through toys. You need to trust them with bigger projects, you know? They have sort of outsourced a mainline release to Ilka, but Ilka is not doing a very good job of it by the looks of it, and you can see my opinions in this very angry video. But moving on, yeah, so they have begun outsourcing by the looks of it, and sure, some of them look good, some of them do not. but they're making the steps that they need to improve. Because think about it this way, they've outsourced to Ilka, which probably has given them the more development time to work on Pokemon Legends Arceus and help improve it, which I hope they do, because it still looks a bit funny at the moment, but it looks like the beginning of something good. And as much as I hate the look and the feel of the Diamond and Pearl remakes, if those games can sustain Game Freak's high standards in sales whilst they work in Legends Arceus, that's great. We should be trusting more studios with games like this. I mean, Team A of Game Freak could work on a game like Pokemon Legends Arceus, and then Team B, or even half of Team B, could work on more DLC for Pokemon Sword and Shield. And that could also help satiate their sales as well. There's so many different things they can do. Pokemon is such a big franchise, and the fact that there's only really been one studio working on it this entire time is kind of shocking. I feel like there should be so many different companies working on this. It's so huge. Every other part of the Pokemon franchise, like the toys and the games, they're all made by different companies to Game Freak. But when it comes to the games aren't getting that same level of commitment as the toys and everything. It's just, the games are the foundation of Pokemon and they should be treated as such. So in conclusion, Game Freak are never going to give up their yearly releases because money. They like it, they're a company, we can't do anything about it. However, outsourcing spin-offs is a solution. It can fill the void, it can satiate us fans, it can give us more unique Pokemon experiences whilst we wait for the next mainline game. And we're already beginning to see the benefits through this year's Pokemon games being outsourced. They look terrible, but they were outsourced, and Legends Arceus looking a bit more promising and a bit more like the game that we've been wanting. So I'll wrap this one up here. If you want to leave me any comments suggesting other ways Game Freak can improve quality and fix the release schedule, I'm open to it. I think if we all keep on talking about this, Game Freak might eventually see it one day and do something, maybe. And if you found this video interesting, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check out the rest of my videos. They're all very good, trust me. And I'll see you later.